Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to Healthy Meals on a Budget. Today's recipe is breakfast casserole. My name is Laura Sheffield and I'm the Health and Nutrition Director at Community Action Council, and I'm also a registered dietitian. So let's get started. What do we need for our breakfast casserole? We need 2 sweet potatoes, 2 medium sweet potatoes. Our other one's already peeled right here. And then we need an onion. We need half of a green pepper and half of a red pepper. We need a ½ pound of turkey sausage, or if you want to just use the full thing that it comes in, it's about 14 ounces. It's less than a pound, but more than a ½ pound. You are more than welcome to use it all. And then we need 6 eggs. And then there's some almond milk and some seasonings that we're going to use a little later. So for now, we're going to get started with cutting up our sweet potatoes. So the first step is to peel the sweet potato. And you want to peel it where all the brown part comes off. And you see only orange. Sweet potatoes are in season this time of year, so they're cheaper at the store. Sweet potatoes are rich in vitamin C, which is good for your immune health. It's rich in vitamin A, which is good for your eyes. It also has a lot of fiber in it, and fiber is good for our gut. It carries the cholesterol and all the other junk out of our body. And it keeps us full longer. So to cut a sweet potato, we're going to cut it lengthwise. And this one is calling for cubes. So we're going to cut it lengthwise, and then we're going to cut across to make our cubes. So while Miss Irina cuts up the other sweet potato, I'm going to add some oil to our skillet, and we're going to add our potatoes to it here in just a second. Skillet on to heat up. Go ahead and add these that are already cut. And these are going to cook in the skillet for about 5 to 8 minutes. They'll have a nice golden brown look to them, like a roasted look, and they'll be tender. Okay, so next we're going to move on to cutting our onion. So to cut an onion, you're going to cut it in half, and then you're going to cut the hairs off at the top. And next you're going to peel off a layer. Then you're going to cut it in half this way. Careful not to cut your fingers. And then go through and cut it along the grooves here. The smaller you cut it, the smaller your diced onion will be. Then you go and you cut it across this way. And again, the smaller your cuts, the smaller the dice will be. And the only part we're throwing away is the root and the little green pieces that came from it. Now if you want your onions diced smaller than that, you can take your knife, put your hand over the nose of the knife, and just take the knife over all the onions, however many times you want to make it the size that you're wanting. I'll let you cut that other one. We're going to check on these sweet potatoes over here. And this should be about on medium-high heat. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. Now I use cooking spray in here. You can also use olive oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, avocado oil, whatever oil preference you have. You want to add about a tablespoon of oil to it before you put it in your potatoes. So while our potatoes are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and crack the eggs and get those ready in our bowl. So this recipe calls for 6 eggs. When you crack the egg, crack it on a flat surface. That way bacteria from the surface doesn't go into the egg. If you crack it on a surface that is not flat, whatever is on that surface could get into the egg yolk. And eggs are also a great source of protein. They're just high in cholesterol and fat, so you want to limit the amount of eggs that you eat. But they are a good protein. So now next to our egg mixture, we also need to mix in our almond milk. So we need a 1/3 cup of almond milk. We're going to pour that in there. And we're going to add garlic powder, paprika, thyme, and salt and pepper to this mixture. Stir up these sweet potatoes again real quick. And the sweet potatoes are almost good and browned on each side. Once they're browned on each side, I'm going to add the onions to it. So now we're going to add our 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. So you find your 1/2 teaspoon measuring. Do it where it's even on top. Sprinkle that in. A teaspoon of paprika. Again, just until it's evenly on top there. And put it in. And then a teaspoon of thyme. Again, just put it up until it's even on the top there. And a teaspoon of salt. Lots of seasonings in this one. And a teaspoon of pepper. And now that is going to get whisked together. And I'm going to go ahead and add these onions to the sweet potato mixture and start to prepare our peppers. So this recipe is a really good example of eating the rainbow. We have our orange sweet potatoes, we have our white onions, we have a red bell pepper, and a green bell pepper. So even though they're both bell peppers, the different colors give it different qualities. Mix those onions in there with those sweet potatoes. Turn our skillet down just a little bit. And now we're going to prep our pepper. So the easiest way to cut a pepper is to cut the top off, cut the bottom off, and then cut around the ribs. And when you do it this way, the seeds nicely fall right out and you don't have a mess. So I only need 1/2 of my pepper. I'm going to cut it in half and use the bottom part. Again, you want to save food, not waste it. So maybe put this in a Ziploc bag and save it for another recipe the next day or for dinner. So I'm going to chop these up. And so you want to just cut it in the long strips and then go back across to make it cubes. And you can make them as big or as little as you prefer. And after you cut them, if you want them smaller, you can take your knife back over them and make them smaller. And I'm going to hand over the knife to Irina so she can get that half green pepper ready for us. So I move over here to our sweet potato and onion mixture, see how it's coming along. We want to wait until our onions are translucent, and that means that they're like see-through, that you can see through them, they're clearer. So once these are cooked, we're going to add the pepper to it to finish the cooking process of it, which actually I go ahead and add the red pepper, and we'll add that green pepper in just a second so that those can start getting tender as well. So this is one of those one pot type meals. You prepare everything in one skillet and then you pour it into your casserole dish, which this one's going to be an 8x8 dish, and then you stick it in the oven. So don't forget to preheat your oven ahead of time. You'll want it on 375, and this one will cook for about 15 minutes in the oven. Now we're going to add our green pepper. And just let it get to a crisp tender. Crisp tender is where it starts to get soft. It's not as hard as it was, but it's not quite soft where you can like break it in half. It'll be just a few minutes on that one. So after this mixture is ready, we're going to go ahead and move our cutting board and knife out of the way and get our casserole dish. And we're going to spray our casserole dish with the cooking spray. Makes cleanup a lot easier, won't make it stick to it. So we got our 8x8 dish here. If you don't have an 8x8 square dish, you can also use an 8-inch round. Spray our pan here. And then we're going to add this potato, onion, green pepper, red pepper mixture to the bottom of the casserole dish. So as you can see, the potatoes have like a nice browning to them. The peppers are softer, but not quite soft enough that you can just tear them right apart easy. And the onions are translucent or easier, clearer to see through. Get all of those vegetables at the bottom of that dish. And this is a great way to get vegetables in for breakfast. A good start to your day. Because with my plate, we want to make sure that half of what we eat throughout the day is fruit and vegetables, with more vegetables than fruit. So now we're going to cook our turkey sausage. You can cook it in the same skillet, no need to stop, wash. It's all going in the same casserole. Thank you. So we're going to pour our turkey sausage in here. We're using turkey sausage because it's leaner than pork sausage. And just start grounding it up, breaking it apart. Plug my heat source back in. So we're going to cook this, chop it up, cook it until it is brown. Normally about 3 to 5 minutes. So you can actually pair this casserole, what will already have your protein in it and your vegetables in it, with the fruit on the side and a cup of milk or yogurt, and then you'll have a My Plate meal, as long as you add a whole grain as well. But again, the My Plate isn't used as every meal necessarily. It's more of a daily guideline. So you just want to make sure half of what you eat every day is fruits and vegetables, more vegetables than fruit, because fruit has that sugar. Not that fruit is bad for us. We definitely need the benefits of fruit. We just want to have more vegetables that have more fiber than the fruit who has more sugar. And then the other fourth, it's about a fourth protein and a fourth grains. With that a fourth grains, you want to make at least half of those grains you eat a day whole grain. And again, that's for the fiber benefit. That will help you stay full longer. And it has more vitamins and minerals. And then we need at least 3 servings of dairy every day. And you could get that through milk, almond milk, oat milk, yogurt, any milk alternative yogurt, cheese. Try to stick with the lean dairy though. 1% milk, almond milk. Now if you can have cow's milk, stick with the skim or 1% milk. But watch out for those yogurts if you're thinking about doing yogurt for dairy, because sometimes the low carb, low fat type yogurts have added sugar to them. So watch for that sugar content. Our sausage is almost done. It's turned from a pink color to a brown. A few more pink pieces that need to cook just a little longer. Alright, so now we're going to add our turkey sausage on top of our potatoes and peppers. Go ahead and turn the skillet off here. We are finished with our skillet. After I add the sausage, we're going to pour the egg mixture on top. We're going to cover it with aluminum foil, and we're going to stick it in the oven for about 15 minutes. Now the way you're going to check this one is if it's done or not is if the egg is cooked. So if the egg still looks runny when you check on it, it's not done. It needs to be solid and stuck together like scrambled eggs. And the egg mixture, when you pour it on top, it kind of just makes its way in between the vegetables and the sausage to make it stick together like a casserole. So we're going to just pour it in here on top of it, over all of it. And now we're going to cover it with aluminum foil and stick it in the oven for about 15 minutes. So now that it's cooked in the oven at 375 for 15 minutes, we have our completed breakfast casserole. This is about 4 servings. So you cut it in half both ways and you have your serving. And there you have it, your sweet potato breakfast casserole. Enjoy.